I'm pretty sure this is the Old Tube Radio Network, but someone can clarify that right now.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you on
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network. And of course, those applause are for your tube radios, which we will be encountering a little bit later in the net. Hello, the Old Tube Radio Network, where real radios glow in the dark from Central California and beyond. You can check us out at 27085 Channel 11 on the live feed. The live event, I should say, the recorded feed at YouTube, where the link is located at oldtuberadio.net, streaming right here, right now. As Motormouth Mall would say, my name is Dennis, your net control operator for the evening, and our purpose, of course, is to promote the use and distribute information about old tube radios from the Class D 11-meter citizen band radio service here on OTR, and we welcome anyone to participate. Regardless of whether you might be glowing in the dark or not, we start the net with a directed roll call of the shortwave listeners, and then we will get into finding those classic tube radios. Before I get too far along, is there any stations, mobile stations, or stations out there that need to get in with an early check-in? OTR's listening. Breaker, go ahead.
Dennis, check 650 in early, please. Thank you.
All right, we've got 650.
All right, everybody have a good evening. I'm out of here. I'm going back in the house.
And it's a nice evening here in Central California, about 70 degrees, a great spring day. You can see there's a bit of a breeze behind me, and maybe a bit of a breeze in here somewhere when people are running in and about the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's get started with the directed net roll call. I want to make sure. I think I've got the link, the correct link, so you weren't watching last week's program. And it appears that the video stream is up, and I see the meters are wiggling at 27085. So all is well. If you're playing the home game, you have the sheet for the second day of April 2022, where at the top of the page we find SWL number 0, Mr. OBP, who is out and about. Our sunspot numbers have been up, although they were down today. The SFI has been way up, but unfortunately so has the A index due to some type of solar activity. And that is why the conditions have not been really good the last 2 days. The prior days before that, they were off the charts. So, Mr. OBP, we've got you checked in, and likewise, let's get a check-in for SWL number 1 and SWL number 2. It makes it easy. Looking for SWL 3. Shortwave listener number 4. SWL 7.
SWL7, checking in.
All right, sounding good in the not QRP neighborhood.
Yes, but a lot of noise, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've just got the usual band noise with an occasional dose of Australia coming in. OldTubeRadio.net is the where the live stream is. If someone's listening and hearing the signal fade in and out, you can catch the stream at oldtuberadio.net and your Universal Media Netweb. Thanks, Ed. Let's go over to SWL10. And the stream has been running. I will keep an eye out to see who is out there. Yeah, Chrissy is there, I do believe. It's, fixing a late dinner. So if you are not by the radio, perhaps you're by the speaker, but 10, I will get you checked in. No doubt it will include potatoes tonight. I don't know. It could be. SWL 13. I will keep an eye out. It looks like my comments page is working. I can't leave a comment, but the comments can come in. So if you need to check in via the, oldtuberadio.net or over on the live stream, I will try to catch you there. SWL 14. And let's see, I'm getting my papers all together here. SWL 16. Charlie is in the house here right up. We put in, what did we do? Put up a new light over there. Or is that the same one? It's just in a different spot. It probably fell down. They're always wanting to make me look good, which is impossible to do. But we will make the tube radios look good. Got you checked in, Charlie, out there in Anoka, Minnesota. Let's go to SWL 17. SWL 18. Got to check in for Mikey via Facebook. And holding the cue cards tonight, as per the script from Derby, New York, Chet is right behind. You can't see him. He's right behind there, making sure that if I say something stupid, that it's scripted, that it was meant to be. All right. I'm sure that will happen. Let's go over to SWL 20. I heard Harvey in earlier. He might be napping. I'll get him a proxy check-in, but I know he will be returning. Over to SWL 21, world's longest ground rod, JT of the Wasama Swamps. When I started just not too long ago, I think Old Radio Night was still going. All right, tonight it was the SSB 140. And it looks like the Lafayette and also the Skipper reverse preamp. Before I go any farther, JT has the best station for shooting skip, and I have a recorded feed here from, I think it was last Sunday, about 6 days ago. And he's doing his live feed. He's on channel 12. And this is what I heard out of this very radio going on right here in Fresno, California. Let's see if I can get the replay back. This is Dirty Diaper 21 coming into Fresno here with the big station.
Oh, somebody's out there. Somebody is out there. I hear the click click. Hey, this is 21. Come on. I can hear somebody else out there in the distance here, but hey, I'm looking at the needle. Sometimes that's how I see people and hear them on the radio. I got to look at the needle there, and it helps me hear them there. So I don't know how to do that. Anyway, this 21 in the Carolinas reading the mail. Hello, Arizona. Did you say 5'8"? Hello, Coyote. Hey, Coyote, how you doing? Where's the road runner at there, Bray? Yeah, Roger on that. Let me ask you there, Coyote. How is it that when they drop like a 2,000-pound safe on you, you open the door and come on out there, Bray? Roger. Okay. Well, I got a good radio check from my friend out there in Fresno. He says I was coming in loud and clear down there in Fresno, California. And what you think about that there, Coyote there, Bray? All right there, Coyote, you take it easy now and watch out for that road runner. Hey, don't run into any painted tunnels out there for sure. Hey, Coyote 21 in the Carolinas, we back out. Coyote, hey Coyote, you're in there on my video at 2 hours and
there it is, SWL 21, Mr. JT beaconing in on the skip, and about the only station on frequency on channel 12. He pretty much had the conditions going all the way on the West Coast. Got you checked in 21 and sounding good on Old Radio Night. Let's go over to SWL 22. SWL 23 on a reversed, what do you call it, a reverse check-in? 23 Skidoo is in and out and skedaddling. Mitch, we've got you checked in tonight. Over to SWL 24. Shortwave listener 25. I think 25's on a gig tonight. I'll get him proxied in. Let's go over to SWL 27.
27's checking in live from Studio G.
Sounding good. Has the A index messed up the FT8? That's the first thing I listen for. If I can't hear FT8 on a band, I know it's closed up. So it's been pretty bad today.
Bands weren't too bad today, but I wasn't on very much, so I was only on around noon.
All right, well, that's when it was just starting to open up. 40 dropped completely out. But you were sounding good here since you were in my skip zone. We got you checked in.
Roger.
And is there an SWL 20?
Yeah, I fall asleep. Yeah, I fall asleep. Okay, please check the in. Number 202954. And thank you to 135 for waking me up.
Okay, well, I thought maybe you have a super slow internet feed or something, but that you could have said that. I would have believed it, but you are at the microphonium now. We've got you checked in. I proxied you, and I knew you would be out here at some point. Sounding good, and go get that cup of coffee or hot tea or whatever you do. We'll catch you later.
Oh, yeah. Catch me later, because tonight's the Johnson Challenge.
Oh, that's right. Edgar F. Johnson, the Waseca, Minnesota. If you've got one of those stations, even if it's a Viking Ranger or Messenger 2, even if it's one of those 85-pound radios, maybe you've got something set up to a Johnson desk kilowatt to check it in tonight. All right. We'll be listening for that. Thanks, Harvey.
Break.
And who's the breaking station?
37.
Go ahead.
Can I check in early?
You can check in early.
I gotta go jump in the rain locker, so get me down. I'll be back in a little bit, though.
All right, got you checked in. No problem. Heading up the road a piece to SWL 28. Gary listening in from the state capital of California, the captain of the Capital Expressway. Maybe that's it. Gary, did I see it? Yes, there you are. It's check 28 checking in. Beautiful day, 75. I think that's what it was here. 76 or so. It's about 70, 69 right now. Very nice. And ready for a cold Coke and some popcorn. There's plenty of popcorn around here tonight. You see Albert up in the balcony with the popcorn machine down in the green room. Popcorn 913 is probably going to be here with the bags, so we were not wanting for popcorn. Thanks, Gary. Got you checked in. We'll also get a proxy for SWL 29. Over to SWL 30, who you just never know when 10 and 30 are going to pop in on the band conditions. I don't know if we'll have any tonight. We were hearing Australia earlier, but I haven't heard any of the north-south stuff at all today. But we've got you checked in. Dwayne, over to SWL 31. SWL 32. And let's see, before I check in 33, I want to say hello to some of those celebrity stations joining us tonight. Big Rich 6520. He's watching with Bubble Candy and celebrating their 9-year anniversary. Well, we should have what, 9 honks on the 9 honks on the Bozo Control proboscis. That should work. Let me get SWL 33. Speaking of the honking proboscis and Bozo Control. And hello to Steve is listening in. I think, where are you at, Steve? South Carolina? Jumping in. Looking good. Well, maybe during the day. You heard how well JT comes in when the band is in during the day. Maybe we'll catch you. We will catch you on some of the skip items of interest. AJM Jazz, and good evening from Nashville, Tennessee, and watching on the YouTube tonight. Cornbread is doing an early check-in. Or he's doing an early, he's actually checking in, but early. In fact, he wanted to check in for next week. That's how early. That's how he does early check-ins. So that's okay. In fact, he's checking in for 2024. I'll see. I don't even know if I've got the lists printed yet for 2024. Who else is out there? Dennis needs an early check-in. We will get that for you. Let's go to SWL 34, and that's Railroader and Little 2. Jimmy, the purveyor of at least the old Tube Radio CB Network Facebook page and many, many others where you can find out more about your favorite radios. Even the E.F. Johnson. We should at least have one tonight. You put out a Johnson challenge, you should at least get one check-in. Here is a station, SWL 35, Mr. Bill, that has probably seen more E.F. Johnsons in and out of the Red Monkey shop than anybody else checking in from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Probably tweaked and peaked a few of those 223s and Viking Messengers and Messenger 2s. Thanks for joining us tonight, Bill. Radio DX1 listening from the northeast corner. Keep your ear out. It just sometimes on nights like these, we get to Central California up to the northeast corner on skip. Although I'm sort of a mud duck, but you might hear some of our stations checking in. Over to SWL 36. That's Jerry out of Arizona. I may be looking at the wrong pages, but I haven't seen his posts lately on Facebook. I know he was refurbing a few radios, so be curious to see how the radio refurbs are coming along. So we'll get Jerry checked in. Also, SWL 37, Chris from moments ago. Over to SWL 38 out of Byron. I think I saw Sam in there just a few moments ago on my radar screen. So, Sam, if you're checking in, I'll put the X into square. Over to SWL 39. And from Tucson, Arizona, Caller Radio is listening in. Good evening to you. Over to SWL 40.
SWL 40 with a life-saving tip. Coca-Cola is not meant to be inhaled.
No, they do something to that. I think that goes along with Dr. Pepper, 7-Up, and Mr. Pibb, and a host of others. All right, well, breathe slowly and check back with us in a few minutes. But breathe. That's the main thing, is to breathe. They got an X in the square. And likewise from Hudson Valley, CB Radio Club in the Hudson Valley, New York, SWL 41, Road Dog 507, looking good in the OTR neighborhood tonight. Over to SWL 42. I have a note here to get 42 check proxied in, which I will do. Also a note to get Crazy Eddie checked in, which I will do. And SWL 44, I barely, actually I didn't hear him last night, but he did check in, 360 checked in on the Ditch Banks net. And Ronnie has a really good antenna to hear those stations that are around the corner and by Grandma's house. But 44, if you're listening or watching, I've got you checked in. IBC root beer. Is that a West Coast, East Coast thing? I don't even know what kind of root beer we have here. I'm not a root beer fan, but we might have IBC. Let's go up to North Fork, see if the skip is messing the foothills up. Hello, Paul. SWL 45. He might be out doing something. We'll get Paul checked in. SWL 46. Shortwave listener 47. Made by Dr. Pepper. Well, then it's probably around here. We definitely have Dr. Pepper, so I just haven't looked. I guess I don't look for the right stuff. Over to SWL 48. SWL 49. All right, so got you checked in from the mobile radio. Sweet Country Mama put an X in the square as well. Thanks for joining us tonight on the old Tube Radio Network. And Uncle Hairball's cream soda. I got a friend that just loves cream soda. I didn't get into the cream soda thing, but there are a few of those brands that people will still pour into a glass. Over to SWL 50.
Hey, good evening. 50 checking in.
All right, thanks for remembering the Saturday night place to be, like you've been doing for, what? Over 30 years. That's not too bad.
A little while anyway. All righty, thanks.
That seems like it. Sometimes you just have to scratch your head and think, is this still happening? Are we still doing it? Yeah, we're still doing it. Thanks to people like Mark there and the Tube Radio operators. We have been doing this a long time. All right, thanks, Mark. Over to SWL 51. And that's Dave out in Sanger. Sometimes I can't make the trip. I'll get a proxy in for Dave. He might show up on the video check-in. And that's exactly, cream soda's like black licorice. You either love it or you hate it. It's just like, oh no, not that. Or it's like, oh yeah, because nobody has it hanging around. Let's go to SWL 52. Shortwave listener 53.
Yeah, good evening, Dennis. You got the weakest station of the nation, 53. Beller the legend, checking in.
All right, the weakest station on the nation, not doing too bad here in the old Tube Radio Network and beaconing out across the entire universe at oldtuberadio.net. How's that for being weak?
Thank you very much, sir. Have a good weekend.
Hello there, fella.
Hello, right back there, brother.
The weekend is going good. We've got a proxy or check-in for SWL 54. Let's go to SWL 55. SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis from the net. 56, just for kicks.
Hello, Phil. You are sounding good in Midtown tonight, as always, with the big signal. Thanks for checking in. Hello, Radio to Bourbon 497 Gypsum, checking in on the old Tube Radio Network. Good to have you all along tonight. We are awaiting the glow-in-the-dark radios, most of them built from 1958 to 1978. That's what we'll be hearing tonight, I think, when they start checking in. Let's go to SWL 57. Mr. Brown Dog Audio from Central Kentucky. SWL 58. Get Jeremy checked in. It was nice to hear him live and direct last week, and I really expect to be playing a recording of him soon from his location out there in Tennessee. He's got a great setup, and I'm sure he will be making the trip here into Central California. SWL 59, check. 76 Ironman from South Kakalaki. Uncle Hairball with putting an X in the square for 59er. Thank you. Over to shortwave listener 60.
Hello, Dennis. I hope we got a transmission going there. Are we on the air?
You are on the air. I think that the issue that's going on there is occasionally right at the beginning of the transmit, the audio gets just a bit distorted, and then it comes right in. So it's hard to know if that's a microphone issue or if it's just a radio warm-up issue. But after about a second, it comes right up and sounds good.
Oh, okay. Well, then, doggone it, we'll go ahead and check in and talk about it more a little bit later. 60, checking in. Thanks, Dennis.
All right, sounding good. I mean, that could be a microphone thing, too. That would be easily detected by switching microphones. But typically, from what I heard earlier, you have to wait about a minute or two for things to either warm up or cool down, and then it'll do it. So we'll give it a test when we start glowing in the dark. Thanks for checking in. We are looking for shortwave listener 61. And I know he checked in last night via like an internet link or something on Ditch Bank sideband net, so we'll do the same thing. Dino, if you're listening, Copenhagen, we got you checked in. Also, we're checking in. Let me go down the page. And way over to North Dakota for King Duckford, checking in on your old tuber radio network. Thank you there, KD. Over to SWL 63. Get a proxy of Butterbean in Northeast Georgia. And you asked me the Echo link. Let's see, there are two. And I have I have neither. I don't have them in front of me, but I will get them. There's two possible node links you can try for that. So we'd like to see how that works out. So I will endeavor to get those tonight, or we'll have them. We'll have them next week as well if you've got everything set up. It'll be good to check that out. Up there on Echolink. So we've got Butterbean checked in. Let's go to SWL 64. SWL 65. Shortwave listener 66. Oops, I don't know what. Something interesting just came up on my screen, and it's certainly not what I want. SWL 67. Get a check-in for Bill. He's still having some internet items going on, I think. And let's see. I want to pull up the REA meter, which is an indication of AM, of good old AM modulation. I'll make sure I'm not under-modulating or over-modulating. I think I'm doing okay. Running the phase rotation tonight on the transmitter and getting average at about 100% audio. I don't think anybody's complaining about distortion. The waveform looks pretty good. So we'll continue on with roll call. Let's head over to SWL 68. And that's Michael. New York 157. Did I see you in the page earlier, or am I just remembering from last week? There's John, JG4755. Hello from KEO8492. And yeah, the Widow-Sided Beast is there. 157, I see you on the board. We got you checked in. Let's go over to SWL 69. Kenny out in Tulsa. I don't think he's live and direct tonight, but Kenny will probably be joining us on the replay. So Kenny, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and we will get you checked in. Over to, let's see, 69 is in. SWL 70, I'll get Mark checked in. He's still in swapping antenna modes here. refresh the page and see what is going on in Dallas, Georgia this evening. Stan, when my comments refresh, see who's out there. Checking in, worked LA, and MS today and working Missouri tonight on Sunday. By the way, the GAQSS party is next weekend. All right, I will listen for that. Plan to work 20 meters most of the afternoon on a Saturday. All right, I will do that. I will make a note. Where's my little highlighter pen? And hopefully I'll be around the radio. I do have a less than stellar 20-meter antenna, but it is cut for that band. I think I heard one contest station on today, and it was so weak I couldn't even tell what it was doing. So I don't know if they were just playing around or there's actually a contest. So next week, the Georgia QSO party. Yeah, been here. Assuming we don't have the A index up at 27 or whatever it was today, should be doing pretty good there on 20 meters. Thanks for the heads up, Stan. We got you checked in. Looking good. Also, KD62 says the North Dakota QSO party's next weekend. All right, I can see I'm going to have to be sitting in the radio chair here. Over to SWL 72. SWL 73. Got a proxy in for 74. SWL 75. Shortwave listener 76. SWL 77. All right, let me get back on the right page here so we can see who's checking in. Yeah, I'll check 15. 10 was good last weekend. Man, I was hearing AM stations, FM stations up at 2,900. Big signals coming through. Not that way today, that's for sure. Get a proxy in for 1017. SWL 78. SWL 79. Oh, you know what? Let me jump in here before we turn the page. I see we have a link up on Echo Link, and it's Keith from Rocky Mountain, Virginia. So I don't know what kind of delay you got. Let me fire it up here. I need to see if it's actually working here tonight. The audio may not be, and I reconfigured a couple of things here on the audio, so we'll see what happens. See if we can get to you here. Let's see. KW4SR from KB6GFD on the Echo Link. I always like to see if we have audio here.
Yeah, KB6GFD from KW4SR. Hey, good evening, Dennis, and everyone out there. I hadn't got to check in lately, but I had a free evening and definitely wanted to get in here tonight and see how things are going. Over.
All right. Okay, sorry about that. I couldn't get my mouse to click onto the right page here to get the audio link. Boy, you sound good. Good audio on the Echo Link. All is well, and so thanks for jumping in and finding the link up here. Doing good, and I hope all is well out where you are. Over.
Yeah, things are looking up here in Virginia. Stayed out in the yard working all day. We had some nice warm weather, and looking forward to a lot more warm weather. Definitely, for sure.
And likewise here, we had some rain not too long ago, with keeps the dust down, and that allows me to rake up all the stuff that's supposed to be not sitting in the yard, and that's what I did today. Sounding good. Thanks for joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network Echo Link from scenic Rocky Mountain, Virginia. Thanks for stopping by. 73, and back to you.
Hey, Dennis. Yeah, 73, and we'll be sitting back here watching. Everybody have a great evening. KW4SR.
KB6GFT.
That is really cool.
All right, that's Keith checking in, listening in on the video, and having a good time at his Radio Shack tonight. We're looking for SWL80. And speaking of links, let me see. Do we have the link up for Bob and Steve out there in Ohio? Yes, we do. All right, so they are. He's saying that all I have to do is press the right button. That's all I ever have to do is press the right button.
27.085 OTR channel 11.
All right, they fixed the audio. They got the thing running through the processor tonight. What's happening out there on episode 109, Old Tube Radio, April 2nd, 2022, Bob and Steve. I got a nice ride in the limo today. I said I needed to go to Costco to pick up some stuff, and they said, okay. And the limo came up, and away I went. So good deal on that. Always fun to get to ride the limo. Let's see what happened. They put an 8-foot ground rod at the tower. Well, I know JT is kind of chuckling at that 8-foot ground rod, but you got to start somewhere. We grounded the radios to the water pipes in the basement. There's a basement here. And it works great. Yes, it does. It took away some of that RF I was getting. They ran also a 100-foot of RG213, my favorite coax, from the antenna to the radio, which is always a good thing when you're calling CQ and no one comes back to you and you realize, oh, there needs to have some coax there. What is the final tube in the Lafayette Compstat 25A? I don't know. That's a good question. I can probably find out what the final tube in a Compstat 25A is. Probably 6BQ5 or something like that. We'll find out. Because they want to add a speaker to the Lafayette, and what ohms do they use? 8 ohms? 4 ohms? Are you listening, Harvey? We'll find out. We'll find out first. Lafayette. The 25A, I don't think is a Panasonic chassis. It might be. So there may be some other radios that we can take a look at, and it'll be the same. Got a Christmas tree for the Johnson Blackface. Now, wait a minute. What does that mean? At the bar tonight, wait, we got a Christmas tree for the Johnson Blackface. I'm missing something here. I am definitely missing something in April about the Christmas tree. At the bar tonight from Mackinac City, Michigan, Rusted Spoke Brewery, sweet grill glazed salmon with winter root veggies. It's mouth-watering already, and the wine is on Bob and Steve. And you know when they do that, it's not going to be that stuff from Trader Joe's. It'll be the good Costco brand at least. Brownies are ready to go, and I'm ready to go. And they also came by to feed the fish. I think they get extra credit for doing that. So the door is always open if they need to get a few brownie points feeding the fish here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
27.085 OTR channel 11.
Okay, if you're just tuning in, you've popped onto YouTube video, your oldtuberadio.net, or you've put the radio back in the mobile that hasn't been in for 30 years, and you're thinking, that sounds like the Old Tube Radio Network. You would be correct. The Old Tube Radio Network here, where we will be talking with some of those classic tube radios and the operators that love them. And we love them too. My name is Dennis, Net Control Operator. We're checking in SWL81. We're also going to check in SWL82 that said he may be away from the air chair. And it sounds like he is. Catch Mr. Bones on the Ditch Banks sideband net Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 27,365, 36 lower. And he's got a great station. You will hear him. They've got a roll call and a spot for visitors and everybody to check in. It's becoming the thing. Got a lot of check-ins last night, so check it out. Ditchbank Sideband Net here in Central California. Looking for SWL 83. Yeah, I agree, Levon, and I think 23 Skidoo is away from the Rolodex tonight on the historian side of finding out what is going on inside the radios. SWL 84, we're going to check in for your Cheerios Kid, sounding good on the Jefferson Noontime Net, and likewise we'll get 86, 87, and 88, the Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and Snowy Owl. SWL 89, shortwave listener 90, SWL 91 from that way far away time zone where it's still, I think it's still Saturday. It's still Saturday, but not for long. Felix, we've got you checked in. He's got the icon stack. We're checking in. We're applauding. Bozo's there. The radio's there. And waving a hand. All right. I think we're going to run out of room to fit everybody in there. And from cool and breezy Warm Springs Ranch out near Wild Wildemar, SWL 78, live and direct. Richard, I see you, and we're putting the X in the square over there on page 2, I believe it is. And it isn't 40 meters has been bad news in the morning. I see all the stations stacked up on the SDR trying to see when the band is going to come in. When I can't hear Brian, I know 40 meters is bad, and the A index is out to lunch. Let's go to SWL, where are we? 92. And I saw Chet munching on some a bag of popcorn. You didn't go. Oh, okay. Popcorn 913 brought it by. That's why. Hold it up. Yeah, okay. And there he is, right there, waving to everybody. All right. Handing out the popcorn. If you can't make it up to the balcony to see Albert or down to the machine in the green room, Popcorn 913 will come by to you. He does deliveries for free. Let's go to SWL 93. Shortwave listener 95. And why am I missing 93? That's funny. I've got to check my list. Is checking in from Orlando, Florida, where it's probably a nice day. And we've got you checked in, sir. Thanks for jumping by the old Tube Radio Network. SWL 96, Mr. Prune Picker checked in earlier from Kermantown. Dennis, if you're listening, we got you checked in. Then we'll go to Boston 97. Jim is out there somewhere, I do believe. Yep, right there, right in front of my video screen. Thanks, 97. We've got you checked in, the old Tube Radio Network. SWL 98. And Bobby is in. Coming up, I heard, as usual, I hear him talking. to Skip, but I don't even hear who he's talking to. He's got the beam pointed way somewhere. Keeping it alive here for Central California. Let's go over to Tracy, if you're listening. I got you checked in. SWL 99, Mr. Tentmaker.
Yeah, let's go ahead and proxy in Robert.
All right, Robert's got a proxy check-in for 4222. Thank you. Oh, and there is Tracy. Hey, Tracy, I saw you're checking in there. On the big screen, 99 is in. Let's go to SWL 100. Shortwave listener 102, and that is John. I don't think he was in earlier. I will keep an eye out. Probably should refresh my other screen. Captain Robert in Nevada joining us. Hope all is well there. And you are always welcome here on the Old Tube Radio Network, as you've been jumping in with us for a long time. Let's go to SWL 103. Shortwave listener 109.
Good evening, Dennis. Crawdad 109 checking in.
All right, sounded good last night on the Ditch Bank's sideband net, and likewise tonight here on AM for OTR. Thanks for checking in, Mr. Crawdad.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
All right, excellent square for 109. How about SWL 110? From Reedleytown, Robert has been posting. Now, there's a gentleman with a green thumb. He's been posting some great pictures of the flora and fauna outside the BMY Radio Shack. And it's all looking good. Man, Robert, I hope we have enough water to keep things going through the summer, because you're doing a good job here in the spring. So we got Reedley checked in. Let's go to SWL 113. Shortwave listener 114.
114 checking in.
114. Hello, Wayne. We've got you checked in. Thanks for listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you for the check-in.
Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis.
Did you ask a question about a speaker for a radio?
All right, the questions at hand are, and I might have the information here, I just can't pull up the screen at the moment. What is the final tube on a Lafayette? Oh, it's in front of me. Okay, here we go. What is the final tube in the Lafayette Compstat 25A? I'm going to assume it's kind of a standard something. It's not like an ECLL 800. And if you were going to add a speaker to the Lafayette, I don't know whether it's internal or external, but what would be the best ohm speaker? I'm thinking 8, but I could be wrong. I don't know about the tube. So the final tube in a Lafayette Compstat 25 Alpha, and the flavor in ohms of speaker that one would use in that Lafayette. Over.
Okay. The speaker is 8 ohm speaker, and the finale tube is a 6 BQ5.
All right, I think I actually guessed correctly. 6 BQ5 on the final tube, 8 ohm speaker should work. I suppose what, if you put it 4 ohm, it'd just be louder, right? I don't know, but yeah, 8 ohm is standard. That shouldn't be hard to find. If you're going to put it on the outside, put it in a big box, if you're going to get it on the inside, then I think you've got to match whatever their size is. 6x9 or 4x2, whatever. All right, good. Thank you for those answers. Over. Direct to net roll call. We're on page 4. We've got radios coming up, so don't go away. Arkansas is in. John, I see you. I see you on 102. Let me run up the page here and get the official check-in. I think it's right there. I don't know. It's up there. It's up there somewhere. Thanks for stopping by. And thank you, 8JM Jazz. Yeah, the 6BQ5 and an 8 ohm speaker. That looks like the ticket on the Lafayette Compstat 25B. Let's go over to Wayne checked in, sounding good as always, SWL 128. John Foster. John is checking in out of Fairfax, Virginia. Looking good on the Old Tube Radio Network. See posts from Albert. Lots of skip this week. Yeah, except for today and yesterday. The 2 days prior to that, I went down to channel 6. It was 40 over. I went up to channel 11. It was 40 over. And as you heard of my replay of earlier, JT, Dirty Diaper 21, just booming in. 10 over. Channel 12, the only station on, and he's thousands of miles away. That's what the band was like this week. Let's go over to SWL 131. SWL 133.
Good evening, Dennis. Number 136.
Hey, Dave, sounding good. Hopefully you're getting some good DX as well with all the conditions. Thanks. At least we got some DX across town. Thanks for checking in. Let's go over to shortwave listener 135.
SWL 135 checking in if this thing is still working.
It is still functioning as an 11-meter radio.
Groovy. Then I'll check it in.
All right, we'll be ready. I think I have, yeah, okay. I managed to have a fresh tube radio list that we will be using in just a moment. So stay tuned, won't you? Let's go to SWL 137. Up in Course Gold to shortwave listener 145.
Well, good evening, Dennis. Tony 145 in Course Gold on a brand new microphone. Literally just opened it out of the package about an hour ago. Hope it's working okay. Really good looking mic. It's Stars and Stripes static 636L. Has the chrome mic cord like the old payphone telephone cords. It's got a chrome cord and Stars and Stripes microphones. Really good looking mic. Hope I'm getting out okay.
Wow, you and Elvis on the Stars and Stripes microphonium. It sounds good. It's nice and clear. Good punchy audio, and maybe some effects to go along with it. If it runs a battery, it sounds like it's working okay. So you dialed in the nick of time, sounding good, and got you checked in over.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, and here's your comment yesterday morning had me laughing. I still laugh every time about it. The frequency of the brake maces hurts. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, they were good questions, so I did well on that. The second questions I didn't do so well on, I don't think, but the first one was not bad. Always enjoy the morning net, a great way to start the day on Fridays. Thanks for checking in.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
Directed net roll call, and the tube radios will be coming by shortly. SWL 147, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Neil's in the house checking in. Radio very quiet today. Yes, it was. And yesterday as well, one contact from Mexico City on 10 meters. Well, that's not bad. That's pretty good. 10 opened up after afternoon. I noticed there were some things going on, as you heard maybe if you were listening into the stream before the net. We didn't have Hawaii, but we jumped over to Australia, but didn't stay in very long, and it wasn't very strong. Everything is spring here. Spring is busting out all over. 70s and up temperatures, just like we're having here in Central California. And 73 for the Carolina Sandhills. Thank you, 147. All right, speaking of good conditions, let's go to see if Bobby's by the radio. SWL 188.
Good evening time, Dennis. Good evening time to all SWLs. 188 Snowbeast checking in.
All right, good deal. Yeah, the band wasn't that great today, but, I heard you pull one or two out here on 11 earlier in the afternoon. And so Central California is well represented again. Thanks for checking in.
10-4. Yeah, I actually had short conditions, and I was able to talk to John Bartell just after talking to Australia.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more of that when we get the really good conditions. You get the backscatter, and of course, John's got the big antenna, you've got the big antenna, and it's close by. It's really an interesting condition between the two stations. I don't know if you actually would point your antennas toward each other, or you go off to the side at 90 degrees and listen for the echo. I remember hearing him last cycle direct, but for me it was right at the top of the cycle. So good deal. One of the West Coast beasts right there. And I noticed you were tagged on one of JT's Video Gates up there with MMM and some others sounding good from Central California. Thanks for checking in.
Thanks, Dennis.
Let's head over to where life is beautiful all the time up in Course Gold, SWL 195.
195, checking in, Dennis. Good evening to you.
All right, good evening to you and all around the household, or did we say in radio, the QTH 195, the X in the square. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Dennis.
226, Mr. Shockwave. I think I got a note to get Jeffrey checked in, and anybody else that would like to come in, maybe I missed something, we've got a comment, we'll get it taken care of before we go to the tubes. OTR listening. Sounds pretty quiet. The band is quiet. All is doing well outside. And just a little bit, I got the window open, a little bit of a breeze coming through. It feels good. Cooling off the tubes. Back in a minute or two with your tube radios on the old Tube Radio Network.
Is it time?
I don't know. Is it time?
Harvey, how many years have I been talking to you?
Well, it's been a whole long time, but I still was fat, and I still didn't have hair back then.
Yes, me too. It's still getting thinner.
Well, I wish a little bit down there around the midsection I'd get thinner, but unfortunately it's the top.
I'm like you too. Thinner's nothing here. And blubber. I gotta use that. Are you feeling okay now or what? You still hurting?
Well, I'm just getting older. It's one little thing here and there. But right now I'm able to motivate, so I will be motivated. Thank you for asking, sir. And how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I know last week when I talked to you, you weren't doing too good. You hurt something or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I got my diagnosis. I've got arthritis in the neck and shoulders and bone spurs. So next week I meet with them and we figure out what to do. So I always wanted to have good spurs, but not up there.
Yeah. You know, spurs, that's when you get on a horse, you can kick it a little bit, make it go a little bit faster or whatever. Too bad you can't use it to kick yourself to go faster. That'd be worth it then.
Speaking of kicking the horse.
Oh, there's the horse kicker. I'm out.
Go ahead.
And then the jingle singer said,
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by
The Old Tube Radio Network.
it's deja vu all over again. Thank you, Stan, and X4000 for that introduction into your old tube radio network, a thing that we have been doing here on Channel 11 in the Central Valley of California for well over 35 years. Yes, you heard correctly. I think it was somewhere in the middle of 1985 when we were all wondering, what can we do? Where can we go to key up our old tube radios and have a good time? And here it was on Channel 11, and we are still doing it, and we're sharing it with you now at oldtuberadio.net. And on the YouTube video. Hi there, my name is Dennis, one of the many net controllers that have sat in the air chair here over that 35 years on the old Tube Radio Network, so thanks for joining us. And now we get to that spot, that part, the Saturday night place to be, where your tube radios are the star of the net. We find out what's going on, maybe help you with some microphones or tweak and peek a little bit. We will see. There is a challenge out tonight to check in as many E.F. Johnson radios as possible. Will we get one? I think we will get at least one. And as I always do at this time before we check in the radios, I populate the pocket protector. And instead of a pen tonight, I have what every pocket protector should have, and that is the little flat blade screwdriver called, we lovingly call it the Greenie, I think is what we call it. There it is. Can you see that? Yeah, that's the Exolite. They have the Phillips that I think are blue or red. Some people call them a tweaker. Nah, let's call them the little tweaker screwdriver. It comes in handy. I can even adjust stuff up here in the rack with this. So in the pocket protector it goes, which is where it should be, because if it was there, I probably wouldn't be losing it all the time. So, with that said, your radios are now ready to go. I hope OTR is listening.
37 135 135. Let's see who we got first.
Wow, that was a quadruple. Here's the order of appearance that I have it, and there is no particular ratings, whether you're 1, 2, 3, or 4, but we are glad to have you on the list. Heading to the green room, Radio 4, in fact, I'll mark you in now, Joe. You'll be number 4. Radio number 3, Mr. Green Arrow. I can't even read my own writing here, but I know it's you, 135. Coming up for Radio 2 will be Paul, and Radio, to get us started off at, I'll call it 906. Christopher is jumping up into the air chair. Hello, Radio.
And hello, Dennis. Thank you for being there. And my calculations, I did some adding. It's like 37 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It was sort of an informal gathering, and then it sort of picked up steam as we went along. And you remember we had the picnics and all sorts of stuff. And now every weekend is a picnic. Over to you with the radio.
Okay, I was going to say something. I forgot what it was, but it must not have been that important. But anyway, Dennis, I would love to check in my general radio telephone, my Super MC11, a 23-channel tuber that glow. Oh, it's 11A. Sorry, I left the A off. It's the MC11A. You got to get that right. Super MC11A. Yes, the general, and the little man in the wheelchair up there with the IV and the whole works right there. And we're right here with a stock microphone. Over.
The original supplied microphonium, if you're at oldtuberadio.net, we've got a picture of the Super MC11A. Let me go to, I can go up to a little bit closer here for the video, I think. And we'll just take a look at the microphone. That is what Chris is using to get all that audio. There is no place anywhere to put a battery in that. You just got to use, lung power. It sounded good. Take a transmission.
Well, thank you, Dennis. Well, there's a lot of good radios out there, but I still like mine. And there's some even better than this year, but I still like mine. And it's mine. But yes, Dennis, we do appreciate you being out there as always. And we'll let you try to get somebody else in there, like, you know who.
All right. Well, it's your radio, but thanks for sharing it with us and the shortwave listeners here on the Old Tube Radio Network. The general radio telephone Super MC11A, manufactured in beautiful downtown Burbank about 50 years ago. Talking about final tubes on this one, not the 6BQ5 like you would think, but the ECLL 800. On the modulator output. Is there a 6BQ5 in there, 6GE5, a 12AX7, and a host of other 6-volt tubes? Sounds good. Thanks for bringing it by.
Oh, no problem. And I would like to give a shout-out to that one gentleman that talks to me on another frequency, on sideband. I'd like to give him a shout. I believe he's in Iowa, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere's up in that neck of the woods. He gets a hold of me every once in a while, and we're going to send out the golden numbers his way and have a wonderful day out that way tomorrow. For I know it's going to be late when you watch it.
All right, good deal, and hopefully we'll make some more contacts as the bands have been, if the sun will cooperate, which it's doing, has been pretty darn good. Thanks, Chris, for your check. And let's go up the hill at 10 after 9. That's the time here, Pacific Daylight Time on the West Coast. And hello, Paul. Can you hear this Mud Duck station? Over.
Oh, I hope you hear me. Tell you what, this has been quite a bad night for me up here. I've been too many miles away. I can check in my generator telephone MC5.
All right. Well, we've got the E.F. Johnson Challenge, and the general radio telephones have bolted out of the gate, showing up here the West Coast. We'll see if Waseca, Minnesota can't be far behind. And someone mentioned about the previous radio, 24 channel. Yeah, it says 24 channel because on those series of Super MC11s, 11A, they included the Civil Air Patrol channel, which was a 26 dot something, and it actually has a CAP right on the rotating channel selector that gets you there. And I think that was the general radio telephone's sneaky way of putting in that ECLL 800 tube where you could strap the radio out and perhaps get a little bit more than 5-watt DC input, but say that you were using it for for the Civil Air Patrol. Right now, I don't think there was a CAP on this one, the General Radio Telephone MC5. And you know what? I've got a picture from, it might even be the radio on which you're talking. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, the radio is famous for that. They quit making those with the tone control that same year, so it was pretty popular radio. Back to you.
The Q-Bird, or the Tone Alert, let me see what it's called. The Tone Signal on the MC5, late 1962, 1963. They advertised this radio a lot. If you pull up one of the CB-only magazines from that era, probably late 62 or 63, you might even see a half-page ad for this particular radio, the General Radio Telephone MC5, a good seller for them. And they did all this with, 7 tubes? Looks like there's a schematic over at oldtuberadio.com. The MC5 was probably the most advertised General Radio Telephone CB. The MC5 was much like the MC4, but had a stronger transmitter. And as Paul mentioned, the last General with the tone signal, thanks to the FCC, and they replaced it with the bullhorn on that switch. And I think the FCC's wisdom was they, on a tone call or a tone signal, they actually didn't want it built into the radio. So there were radios that had separate standalone units. Sonar had one, Johnson had one, to do the squelch tone or the tone signal, but not built in. And perhaps they thought because you could lock this button down that you could, jam a frequency or inadvertently turn a thing on and cause, malicious interference or something. I'm just guessing on that. Paul, take another transmission. It's doing a good job down here in Midtown.
Okay, well, I didn't get most of that, Dennis. I'm sorry. It's just a real bad night up here. And we're 40 miles away, so that doesn't help anything. I wish I was 1 mile away. It'd be great. But that's what we got to deal with it. At least I got checked in, and I'll be listening as well as I can. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, you're doing good. Radio number 2, the General Radio Telephone Master Control, the MC5. They had a VS, a vibration service radio that was made for mobile. Although I think this one also had a 12 volt that you could do, but it was a much larger, heavier radio with the rack handle. So it looks like you should put it up on the utilities shelf in the shop and be ready to go. Thanks for radio number 2. Heading over to SWL 135. And you don't need to have any numbers to check in a radio. If you just all of a sudden find yourself in that yard sale and it's like, look at that. That's an old tube radio. And you pick it up and you hand your $5 over to the seller, bring it in, plug it in. If you've never even been on the Old Tube Radio Network, we want to hear your radio fired up. That's why we are here. That's why this whole thing was started, to get on the air night specifically for your tube radios, and we're still doing it in the 21st century. Mr. Green Arrow, can you copy net control? Over.
Roger. This is SWL 135, the Green Arrow. We copy you. Over.
All right, good communication, sort of the way it was supposed to be. The FCC in their imagination thought we would be talking from interstations. Of course, we're not saying our call signs, and we'll do our 5 minutes of on-air time. So back to you. Tell us about what radio you have so I can find it in my Rolodex, maybe.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Maybe not a picture of this one, but there are many just like it. This is from Waseca, Minnesota, and the E.F. Johnson Radio Company. This is the Johnson Viking Messenger. It has many aliases, so I don't know how you find it there, but it's also known as the Messenger 1 or the White-Faced Johnson. It's in Sam's book number 1 for the CB radios. It has 10 tubes, but only 5 channels, crystal-controlled transmit and receive. Back to you.
Their first introduction into Class D, I had the wrong radio. People saying, he's got the wrong radio. Yes, I had the wrong radio, but now I've got the right radio. E.F. Johnson from the Johnson Challenge, making big boat anchor radios, the Viking Ranger and the Viking 2, and I don't know, they had what was their CW rig, the desk kilowatt. And so they pared down the weight. They pared down the power to 5-watt DC input. They were already pretty good about making radios, and here was 1959. The entry-level Class D, it's bare bones, turn it on, fix the squelch, which I think is actually on the on-off volume squelch. Look for the little lights, put the antenna in, plug it into your car, whether it's 6 volt, 12 volts, or plug it into the house. And make sure you have your call letters and your license, and then you would take a transmission just like this. Go ahead.
Yeah, as long as it's still working. I am a bit low in frequency. I've got like 0845, but you're hearing me, so I suppose it's still close enough, eh?
It is close enough. I'll do a 0 beat to see where it's at, but it sounds like you know that it's there. Our first radio for the E.F. Johnson, the Edgar F. Johnson challenge tonight. And chronologically, this is good. Is that, I don't know if you didn't say you're out in the mobile, so I'm assuming that is the mobile, or rather the base version that has its own 3-digit number that I was going to find, but I can't find. But it's like a 3-digit and a 3-digit number that indicates it's 117 AC.
Yeah, this is the base version, I guess. I'm out here in the CB Cabana as usual. I think it's 272 or something like that. You have to ask Harvey. I'm sure he'll know. It has the on-off squelch and volume control. And yeah, the 2 lights, the amber on light and the flashing red light up above it to let you know it's modulating more or less. I don't know what kind of microphone this is. It's a gray plastic box, non-amplified type microphone. It says Johnson on it, but I don't know who made it for Johnson. Could be a static, I'm not sure. Back to you.
Sounds good. One of the SWLs has already commented given you a 3 thumbs up on the audio tonight, and it does sound good. I think they came with 2 microphones. I have an E.F. Johnson Messenger, and it has the style of the static microphone. Looks like the ice cream cone that came with it. But I have seen them. But the microphone that's actually on it is the black plastic E.F. Johnson microphone. These radios always sounded good. I think a lot of people like to mod them a little bit. You could definitely get some nice audio out of them, maybe bring up the output a little bit more than 4 watts out. They had a 10-meter version of this radio as well, and I don't know if it had more power or not. So a staple back in the day. For those of us who were around in the 1960s and 70s, especially in the mid to late 60s, you couldn't go to any channel and not hear this radio or the Messenger 2, or in later years the 223. So back to you.
Oh yeah, and I remember in the earlier days of OTR, like everybody had one of these. There's one reason I don't have a picture of mine up there. They were ubiquitous. Like just about everybody had one. So I didn't bother. Maybe I should have, but like I say, they're just so numerous. And I don't hear too many of them out here anymore. But yeah, there used to be a lot of these, and the Messenger 2s. You used to hear those all the time back all through the 60s and 70s, and right into the OTR era. With that, we'll get on to whatever the next radio is going to be, and we'll see you next week.
All right, very good. Nice audio. The microphone's good. It doesn't have that carbon microphone sound. It doesn't have the phone patch, the Winchester Cathedral sound. It sounds great. They knew what they were doing. I think the original prices were around $130. They might have been able to get them less, but wasn't the most expensive. It wasn't the cheapest, but I think E.F. Johnson did a good job of getting out there right at the beginning of the Class D marketing, because they were already doing it, and they had a good name, and they were well built, which is the reason it's still around and sounding so good. Mark you in at about 27084.4 plus. So well within the, 700 cycle range, the FCC said, well, we got to be crystal controlled, but it can be off just a little bit. Radio number 3, the E.F. Johnson Viking Messenger Whiteface, or whatever you want to call it. Number 1 in the E.F. Johnson Radio Challenge. Thanks. Now, let's head over to Radio 4. The time is 9:21 Pacific Daylight Time, SWL 60. Hello, Joe. Are you still hearing this station? Over.
Yes, we are there, Dennis. And we would like to check in. This is radio here is a little new to me, so you'll have to help me out. This is a blackface Johnson Messenger 2. I had it put aside here, hoping that one day I would get it going. And thanks to Harvey, of course, we have it on the air. I hope it's doing okay to this point, and maybe you can help me out a little more by telling me a little more about it. I have it on a D104 Lollipop, a power mic.
D104 sounds good. The D104 was a very good microphone for that radio. I'm bringing, so I can tell everybody about it. Bringing up the ad now with tunable receiver, Citizen Radio transceiver. So this is what a perfect radio. This is the next step up from Johnson, from the radio we just heard Cliff check in. This was their advanced next model, now with the tunable receiver. So in theory, you've got a knob there, Joe, that will take you to all 23 channels to listen, correct?
Right. I have them A through, well, I have the paper upside down. Let me just turn this around so I can tell you what we're talking about here. A through J on the selector there in channels 2, 13, 11, 14, 19, 20, 21, 22, 28, and 30, thanks to Harvey.
Wow, channel 30. All right, because 11 was typically always in those things. That's one reason that we chose channel 11 for the old Tube Radio Network, because we knew most of the radios is crystal controlled. Even if there was this one channel, would have 11 in it. 23 channel tunable receive, 10 channel transmit or transmit and receive. So you could do, I don't know, is there a switch to key it in between transmit and receive? Improved noise limiter circuit, plug-in provision for the tone alert selective calling system. Notice it's a plug-in and not built-in. That's what we discussed with General Radio Telephone back in '62, where the FCC didn't like that. New modern styling. So you've got a modern radio there, Joe, with that modern styling. Let me see if I can read this. You've asked for it, and here it is, the new Messenger 2, patterned after the famous original Messenger, which we just heard. The Messenger 2 incorporates all of the basic time-tested and proven features, plus the extras necessary to make it the finest two-way citizen radio equipment available. And it goes on to talk about the features. Compact and lightweight, the Messenger 2 is exceptionally easy to install anywhere. The complete unit measures just 5 by 7 by 11, meeting all FCC specifications. The Messenger 2 is designed to give maximum legal power regardless of the channels used. So there you go. You've got your maximum legal power. Here's the numbers. The 242162 was 115 volt and 6 AC and 6 volt DC, and the 242163 was 115 volt AC and 12 volt DC. And the Canadian price is $259. So this is actually a Canadian. So I'm assuming it was definitely less than that on the American dollars. Over to you. That thing sounds great. Take a transmission. Go ahead, Harvey. Over.
Yeah, you've got 24216 something in the Sam's photo pack for the whiteface, the Viking, as it's listed. It's 242126 or 127 or 128 or 129. Interesting.
Yeah, and I think there were 10-meter versions, too, that would come into that. There's the actual radio. We got a shot now where you see that's our Joe. The little tiny circles there, are they illuminated? Now you may say no because they are, but the bulb was burned out. But on your radio, is there some lighting, illumination behind those channel dials?
Yeah, the lights. Yeah, they are. They're on. They're on. They're nice and bright, and also has your modulation light right in the center of the screen.
Okay, yeah, 162, 163. Price American $169.95 for that. Looks like oldtoobradio.com has a schematic. CB5, page 48. And one more question, and Harvey, you may be able to jump in and answer if we don't see. On the ad, it mentioned that you could go crystal control, transmit, and receive, and there's a tunable receive. So how did you make the switch? How does it know, how does the radio know which one you want to do?
Okay. They actually have two models of the tube. They have a model that has no tunable receive whatsoever. It's just got the channel selector for the channels on the left side and a jewel on the right-hand side. No tunable receive. Then the other model has the tunable receive. And on the lower right, about halfway down, a little less than halfway, is a slide switch. And when it's in tunable receive, there's a light behind the channel selector for tunable. And when it's off, it's crystal receive.
Interesting, because I've got a couple of pictures, one that has the switch, one that doesn't have the switch. Joe, on your radio, does the microphone plug in or is it hardwired? Over.
It was hardwired. Harvey installed it on the left side, on the volume side. So it is now a plug in there, so I can change mics.
Okay, that answered my question, because again, I've got two conflicting photos here. One that shows a microphone connector, but it looks like the case was cut out around it. And then the other one looks like it's showing a hardwired microphone, which would make sense because this was just an updated version of the Messenger, which had a hardwired microphone. And again, this wasn't, CB Class D wasn't a thing where you're going to have S meters and signal reports and hobby communications. It was just turn it on, the microphone is there, don't worry about it, and make your contacts. Looking good. I'm going to give, before you go, I'll give you a frequency check on the Messenger 2. Larry radio guy Larry that came by a couple of years ago that worked for E.F. Johnson said the one thing to watch out for in the old Johnson radios would be the crystals. He said they had trouble with them drifting, but the one we had prior was right on. And I think yours is going to be good as well. So see if you can outdo Cliff on being on frequency. Take a transmission.
I don't know about that, but I sure enjoy hearing all this about this radio and looking at it on the phone there. A lot of interesting information. Doggone it, we did also buy a helper for it. Not for these conditions, for now, because I don't think you had any problem hearing me. But if you did, I bought a little JB12 Black Cat, a little thing, a little toy there to kind of help out in the situation. Now I know at first there we talked about the the microphone, something going on about. I was not coming on right directly, but I've noticed that as it's warmed up, I've been able to work the tunable receive and kind of put it on in the center spot, because this is a slide action. It doesn't click, so you got to kind of fool with it a little bit.
Yeah, in each transmission you've had prior to the first one, which did have the little audio anomaly, have been good. So it's something that's warming up, and I think you said you had a non-amplified D104, which means there's no battery. So probably something in the radio when it sits for just a little bit has to jump in. I don't have a scope to see if it's actually an off frequency thing. And you're not very far off. You're 27084.7. It's about 300 cycles here. Those crystals are doing good. In the E.F. Johnson, all right, there's our second E.F. Johnson for the radio challenge. And they're second in the series of radios. So I know you're building the collection there. That one is a nice little addition to the other one you've got.
Well, thank you there, Dennis. Doggone it. Yeah, we'll let the old channel rock now. And we'll work on this as the weeks go by. I sure appreciate all the information. SWL60, letting another one warm up.
All right, the Messenger 2. Let me go there. Do they say, yeah, the Messenger 2, that is a TWO. They spell it out. So this is what became the Messenger 223. I think it's very similar. They took that radio and turned it sideways, added some channels and an S meter and stuff like that. All right, speaking of stuff like that, the Jingle Singers are saying they have some stuff to tell us about your old tube radio network, the place to be on a Saturday evening. Glad you could join us.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
And we are listening for radio number 5.
How about this one?
That one will do, beaconing into net control with no problem at about 9:33. So take a transmission, over.
Okay. Number 20 on a Johnson Viking, I guess, whiteface, or Messenger 1, some people call it, with the original screen tone mic on it. The logo is not on there, on the mic, unfortunately. And this was a parts radio. And I said, let's see if it works. And lo and behold, I got to work it. It wasn't that bad. Anyway, this does pretty well. I think Paul cannot hear me, so on the next transmission, I'll put the Paul can you hear me switch on.
All right, I'm just looking through my Johnson Rolodex. I have all sorts of numbers, but only a few pictures that will come up correctly. So we'll go back to the Messenger. Oh, I've got a couple. All right, here's another advertisement. Let's pull that up, and I'll let you get the booster ready. So I bet this was a popular radio with those who were getting into Class D for business communications. It sounds good. The audio is always good. It's really hard to hear or to find a bad E.F. Johnson audio-wise. I don't have a tube complement, but they did well. Over to you, and we'll see if you've got the boosted version. Over.
Okay. Well, let's hope it doesn't feed back. You can check my frequency. If I'm not dead on frequency, I'm awfully close. One of the good things about these radios, this one and the 2, is that there's a tuning inductor that gives you a wide range that you can tune for getting it on frequency on a particular channel. So this ought to be close. Cliff's, I'll go by one day and get his closer. I can do the same for Joe's if he wants. But anyway, this one should be close.
That one is close. I've got it at 27084.8 something, so not too far off. Over.
Well, we can't have 8 something, okay? We just can't do that. I mean, golly gee, let's see. How's that right there? Now, I went up 2. This should put it right on.
Getting right mode. Yeah, you did that. You put it right on. You know, it's hard to dial it in. You know, I'm plus or minus 30 hertz probably. You are whatever you did. Is it that easy? You dialed it right in.
Yes, I said radio, go up. You know, like two little clickies. Go clickies. That's a radio technical term. Anyway, go up. And the radio went up. Now, my free counter, let's say 085 point something. My something is 0.2 lower than your something. I had 084 like 8, flipping to 9. Oh, I mean, no, mine's higher than yours. I'm sorry. I had it 085.0. And you said 4.8, so I went up to 5.2, and there we go. But we're close, so I'm not worried about it. Anyway, this is the Messenger Viking, original mic, and I know some other people want to slam their Johnsons up on the table, so I'm gonna get another one warmed up also.
Good audio. It's not feeding back. There's a little bit of induced hum, but that's not from the radio. That's from the other device. Looks good. Typical audio. And refresh my memory. What microphonium are you using again? Over.
The Static Ice Cream Cone mic, model 332. That's one with either I think it's a ceramic or crystal cartridge. The 335 has a dynamic cartridge, and you can tell the difference by looking at the screen on the front. It's got a little nubby, extra little protrusion, while this one is flat. I don't think those work that well on these, but this one seems to. Okay, turn it back to you. Got to get the other one off the shelf. Oh, off the shelf. The right way, and set it up.
Okay, I'm thinking that's a ceramic. I don't think it's a crystal. Audio's too good. You fooled me. I thought you were going to tell me it was a D104, so doing pretty good. Nice loud audio. Can't go wrong with those. I know some guys used to mod them, and I don't know what they did. I was down in L.A. area, and there was a whole group of people that put those, fixed those in as a control carrier. So, you know, you had very low key down and maybe not much at all. And then because they had such good audio, and I think there was a lot of headroom in the tube, they'd run them as a controlled carrier, and they would sound a little bit louder. Sometimes if the channel was noisy, it almost sounded like sideband with the carrier moving in and out of the noise level. But that was a pretty cool thing to do. Levon waving a hand to you, Harvey, and also Crash 350, listening in from Western Pennsylvania tonight, and keeping the tubes alive out there in his area with the Mark IIIs, the Demco Super Satellite 2. Wow. And keeping the old glass talking. I think we might have had a 2 check-in, but that was long ago. That is one of those unobtainium rare radios. So we occasionally get here. The E.F. Johnson Radio Challenge is working pretty well tonight, as are the OTR Jingle Singers. Back in about 20 seconds.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest station for you by far is known to all and
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
We're listening for radio number 6. Waiting to see if we get a few more check-ins before the end of the net here as people saunter away. It's probably still in the mid-60s outside. It's dropping, getting a little cool, but saunter away from the barbecue and realize, oh, it's Saturday night. That's the old tube radio thing. On the game board tonight, let's say hello to up in the balcony, Fresno, Spokane, Washington, Edinburgh, where it is, do we get a temperature for them on Sunday morning? I don't know. What's going on in Dander Hall and New Craig Hall and Blackford? No, not showing the temperature. Oh, there it is. At almost 6 o'clock in the morning, 37 degrees. Not too bad. Hello to Germantown, Wisconsin, as always, Louisville, Kentucky. The boys from Squamish are out and about. They're out in the mezzanine. See them for some popcorn and other fine goodies. Hello, Dinez, Kentucky. Fish Camp is in Manhattan Beach. And, of course, Derby and Anoka helping out here as always. OTR standing by for Radio 6.
60.
Okay, we'll do a 60 under the 6. And congratulations on the 2. Nice sounding radio. Hope you can jump into the replay and hear what it sounds like. It's doing a good job. However, your Radio 6 sounding as marvelous, I do believe. Tell us what you got.
Okay. Doggone, we got a bit confused there. Dennis, I'd like to check in my 223, my Johnson Messenger 223. With the original stock mic.
Okay, we're doing good chronological order here tonight between the Viking, the Messenger 2, and the radio here that you're on, and we'll be hearing again the Messenger 223, which is a Messenger 2. I don't know if you ever look into those or you have the case off at the same time, but in theory it's supposed to be the same radio basically. But take your Messenger 2 and turn it sideways so you're looking at the side of it. And that's sort of what they did, I think, inside. And then they added the extra crystals, put on the meter, and made that really cool front end with a nice metal surround, the big speaker. Made the knobs a little bit more, I guess, user-friendly and larger. And finally, hello, they finally gave you a plug-in microphone. Over.
Yeah, I was looking at one on YouTube one day, converted over to the Messenger 223 from the 2. And, yeah, it was interesting to watch, but I never thought I would be operating one. Yeah, they put a nice-looking front on it. And the meters, and like you say, they turned it sideways, which is pretty neat. And, of course, your plug-in for the microphone, that all worked out.
Still has the good audio. I know they didn't modify too many of the 223s. Nice having all 23 channels. Even Sears Roebuck decided this would be a good radio for them to put in their catalog, and Sears just did just that. I think it had a 75 number, like a 7520 or something, but that was, you can tell if you've got one and you look at the front microphone and it has that SR logo. Sort of looks like the atomic logo, but that was the Sears Roebuck logo on the microphone. And it'll have a Sears on the front, but they changed the front part of it. But you do not. You have the original 223. And yours does not, you've told me, and I'm pretty sure I remember, yours does not have the modulation light brought out to the front of the radio, right?
No modulation light. Not yet, anyway. But maybe one of these days. But other than that, doggone it, Dennis, I appreciate you letting me check this one in. She is a little solid base radio. It's not mobile in any way.
Yeah, they did not make this mobile. It was truly a base, and at this time, when these came in 1969 to 1972, they are already starting to do some solid-state radios that were replacing the Messenger 2. I think they had a 123 and a 323, and they were smaller and lighter, and they sold equally as well. People really liked the Johnson quality, and it was easy to just jump into the solid-state mobile, as they touted. Hey, this is the perfect thing for your car. Price on this around $200. Might have been a little bit more if you added the desk mic, and most of them came with the desk mic, but I think you could get it without it. The catalog number is the 242-223E. Not sure what the E designation would be, but it's doing good. Your radio number 6, and that is number 3. Number 4, E.F. Johnson, number 4. We're doing pretty good with the challenge. Take it one more transmission, if you will, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Dennis, and I hope to hear a few more. Really appreciate it.
You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network, a item that happens on this channel, Channel 11, on this day, Saturday, just about, 52 weeks out of the year for many, many years, gathering of people who are interested in tube radios, like to get on the radio. And I guess when we started 37 years ago, there were quite a few people on CB radio. It wasn't hard to get into a conversation. Here in the 21st century, it's almost the thing you look forward to on a Saturday, just to get into the radio room and actually hear somebody on one of the channels. So we appreciate our radio operators taking time out of what they are doing, or maybe what they should be doing, to say hello. We'll be back in a moment or two as the jingle singers tell us about the magic that is the Old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
Listening for Radio 7.
Let's try this one.
I am radio. Sounds. I'm radio. I am ready. Your radio sounds good here in Midtown.
Okay. This is number 20 with my Messenger 2. This one has a D104 on it, amplified, turned down a bit, and it's wired internally, but this thing I've had for like I don't know how many years, and I ran a cable out from underneath about 4 inches and put, get this, how long ago it was, a 5-pin realistic DIN pin, plug on it, and the microphones plug in that way.
Oh no! Is it original? Was the Messenger 223 a 5-pin? You know, Harvey, and you already know this. That has got to be, that 5-pin DIN connector has got to be the worst. It's right up there with the DB25 connectors for your computer. That has got to be the worst connector ever made.
Yeah, 5-pin DIN, realistic style, but that's what I had. But then I also have something else that goes with this radio, and I don't know if it works. We're going to see. How did that work?
It worked. No, I don't have a shot of one, But we were talking about this on the general radio telephones, the tone alert or the tone call. And did they not? Did Johnson not have their own little standalone call unit or whatever you want to call it over? And I think maybe that's what you're doing there.
That is it. It's the Johnson Tone Dash Alert. But I have to fix the neon light that's in the top, I think. No, wait. Yeah, I have to kind of fix that. It's not working. Yeah, doggone it. Oh, well, I'll get that fixed. But I have another one also. Guess I can plug that on. Yeah, I like this thing. Anyway, this one is doing round 10, swinging to 20, just the way it is.
Yeah, those radios they had to throttle them back. I think that's why people like to do the control carrier on the picture. All right, so the tone alerts, looks like it had a slide switch and the light. Now, did it squelch the radio? Or did it just make a noise, or did it do something to the radio where you could have the radio volume down and you would hear that?
Well, while I'm talking here, yeah, I can hear it. There are a couple of adjustments on it. I could adjust it, but I'm not going to get to it. It's getting late. I got one more to go.
All right, I've got a picture of one. It's on a 223, but it's a box that attaches to the side. It's got the light in the bottom, and there's the lever. But truly an outboard edition. So not quite like the Q-Bird. Certainly not as as what's the word? As frantic as the tone alert, but it does get your attention. All right, yeah, I looked at the clock. It's getting late here, so grab the next radio. Thanks for Radio 7, the Messenger 2 on the E.F. Johnson Challenge on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR.
Let's do some adding.
27.085 megahertz.
What do they amount to?
Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
Are you still waiting for more radios?
I've got some space here. Radio space number 8 is ready to go, and I do believe Harvey has one more before we sign out. They're starting to make donuts. That's always a sign that we're getting ready to go. So if you got donuts, if you got radios, we'll take them.
Well, I got a radio. It's warming up right now, though.
All right, we'll probably have time to sneak it in, no problem.
All right.
Can't find my little screwdriver. It needs a clip. It's supposed to have a little pocket clip on it, but this one doesn't have one. Must be the cheapy version. Well, somebody's trying.
Can I try?
This is the Can I Try frequency. Go ahead. Over.
Thank you, Dennis. SWL 37 here. And we are going to check in my Chris 23, a 23 channel CB transceiver. And we are running this here with a non-amplified stock microphone that goes with the radio. And that shows that everything's working. We got it on the meter. Let me see what it says here. Well, that there. Boy, when I do it this way here, I like it better with the PEP. It almost goes to 10, but the other way it only goes up to about 6 or 7. So anyway, I like it better that way. But anyway, this is my Chris 23 Plus. Over.
All right, I always get confused because I have to write down everything here. So I've got Chris on the Chris, and I make sure I spell each Chris correctly for the box it's supposed to be in. Yeah, your RMS power as opposed to the PEP power. I guess in a perfect world, at 100% modulation, if your meter was reading 3 or 4 on the PEP scale before you started talking, then it should be reading 9, or let's say 12 to 16 or so as you talk on it, and peeking out there.
Okay, it keys up 4, and it swing up to 10.
Okay, that's in the ballpark. I mean, all meters are not created equal, but it's moving. It sounds like it's close to 100% modulated. The Chris 23 Plus, the Panasonic 2 chassis clone. I think this is sort of the economy version, because inside it's probably going to look a lot like a Robin T123B, but it doesn't have a lot of the switches and things that the 23B did. What did they give you on the front? They did give you band spread. All right, so they gave you a delta tone. You had the meter select switch and the mod light and a PACB. So what more could you need, right?
I don't know, Dennis, but actually, it's keyed up roughly 3.5, almost 4, and just under the 10. So it's close, but it's in the ballpark. And actually, the insides of this thing here looks primarily same thing as my Gem Marine Products. Over.
A good observation, in that the Gem Marine Products is also that Panasonic 2 clone, and I think they may have, I don't remember, they may have a few more lights and bells and whistles, but all similar, same, which I think it was in a plate modulated rig as well, so they all sound good and do well. You are radio number 8. Thanks, Chris, for getting another one on the list here for the Old Tube Radio Network. Let me see if it says anything. Yeah, it's the Japanese thing. 11 tubes, the 12 AX7 for the audio. The output modulator, a very popular 6BQ5. So it's sounding good.
Oh, thank you, Dan. Oh, how did Joe's radio sound tonight on that 123 channel they had?
23 channels sounded good, and the new one sounded good as well. It's just when it sets for a while, that first little second of key up, the audio sort of ramps up. After that, successive key-ins sound just fine. So kind of an anomaly, but it sounded really good. Nice, clear audio.
That's with the little booster behind the audio. The modulator. That was after that, right?
Yeah.
I thought he'd been wanting that for a while, so hey. What can I do? I don't use it, so.
And it plays with the radio sometimes, and it kind of makes me sad. You can add things to the output of the RF, and it will actually, even though your signal looks good, it makes the radio sound worse. That was not the case. It got louder, signal got stronger, and it did exactly what it's supposed to do.
Exactly. All right, Dennis, I'll get out. I'm sure you said somebody was wanting to get in there. Who was just said? You said Harvey was trying to get one going. So I'm going to get out of here. This is it for me, and I'm turning this off, and I'll be listening on the other one.
All right, we're doing counting and amounting here and listening for any radios that need to check in before we sign out.
One more.
All right, this is the one more frequency. Give me 1 second here.
Check.
All right, I'm back. Had to hand some paperwork in for last week. I guess they were shuffling things around. I realized I didn't hand in my lists from last week. Jim K is saying hello from Toledo, Ohio, listening into the Old Tube Radio Network here in Central California, where we are about to talk to Harvey, who is in Fresno. And I'm not sure what radio he is on. Hopefully I'll have a picture for you. Take a transmission, over.
Okay. This is the Johnson Messenger 223. And its model number actually is 242-223. How's the audio on this? And frequency-wise, I should be maybe a hair high.
Check the frequency. Audio isn't bad. Out of all the Johnsons we've had tonight, it sounds a little different. It doesn't have the sharp high frequencies that I'm used to hearing on the other radios, and it's definitely not 100% modulated, but it's clear. Over.
Okay. This will be for Paul. Let's see. Okay. For Paul. Got the modulator off. This one has the stock desk mic. And I've got several of these. I'm fortunate to have that. And I grabbed the closest one that I could find. I had to get the radio off the shelf. This is one that I'm working on. It's got 2 crystals out. Fortunately, neither of those affect channel 11. Been waiting for some crystals for a while. Anyway, I also have 2 of the Johnson Gold mics and the Gold Plus 2 desk mic. And that's what's going on this one, and this one will be a keeper. It's got the mod light stock, and along with the meter just in the front. Excuse me. Anyway, this one is real nice, and I do see another mic sitting on the shelf. I might try it when you come back, after you come back.
Okay, I think that's... Yeah, the microphone just is restricted in the lows and the highs, but it's got enough audio. It just doesn't have the same sound that we've been hearing tonight for the Johnsons. And you are right, 27085.15, so about 150 cycles on the high side, but that's very close, certainly not noticeable on any of the general AM receivers. And with the 223, it is, assuming you've got the mics wired up correctly for the audio. And I just realized when you unplug the microphone, you probably don't hear a word I'm saying, because I think those are electronic switching. But at least you've got a microphone plug, jack, whatever, to get in there and wire things up. So if you've got the microphone ready, and I apologize, I know you might not have heard me when you were switching microphones. Back to you.
Okay. This mic I have to clean. I have the audio.
All right, sort of the direct opposite of that other microphone. This one has a lot of highs, a lot of mid-range. It's loud, and you can hear the crackle in it. However, it doesn't suit your voice very well. It kind of accentuates the really high nasal frequencies. So even though this one is louder, the other one, at least in my opinion, is a little more pleasant to listen to.
Okay, I got one more radio, and I gotta hurry, so I'll sign off. And we'll catch you next week. This one, I slapped up here my Big Johnson, the 223. Thank you.
All right, Big Johnson sounding good. Now, with that said about the microphonium, say this was going up to Paul, that microphone there might actually be good, just to give a little bit more drive into the radio and a little bit more, as Mr. High would say, articulation. So in that case, that could be an item on that. Radio number 9, who would have thunk? The E.F. Johnson Messenger 223 and OTRs. Counting and amounting, the jingle singers, they're pointing. They're saying, oh yeah, okay, remind people it is late, so let's do it. Let's do it with their favorite little end time jingle on the Otr Radio Network.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
How's this one?
It's working. It's working over.
Okay. For Paul. Make sure he can hear me. Put on the modulator. Okay, the Browning Golden Beagle from Browning Lavatories back there in the east with the custom D104. It's got the original Browning medallion on the back, not one of those stickers. Young lady back east, or wherever she is, make stickers that are pretty close, but they're a little bit too big, and they're stickers, vinyl stickers, not the really good quality semi-thin aluminum with the painted on logo. Anyway, the Golden Beagle by Browning Lavatories, that's on frequency. And I will turn it back to you. Catch you next week, sir.
All right, as always, very nice audio with that radio right on frequency, but you knew that because it's the Browning.
Yeah, with the dong.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have the shrill kind of high-frequency sweeter ping, but it does have a ping. Thanks for bringing it by.
Well, I can kind of get it to do it.
Probably a different microphone would be different as well, or you could do something to put an external speaker on it.
There we go. Okay, it happens to be the cartridge that's in there. Anyway, it works, and I'm happy with it, so thank you much. Catch you next week. Oh, if he's still listening, hello back in the East Coast there, Levon, back in the Big Apple back there. So take care. One of these days we'll get to hear that radio. Okay, we'll see ya.
You just never know. I got a great, you heard that, or maybe you didn't, but I heard that great recording of JT coming through. 11 was 20 over. We went up to channel 12, and he was it. He was the station on the air. So I expect to hear the Browning OTS without much issue. All right, counting and amounting, and we will be back in just moments to wrap it up here.
is the Old Tube Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, stand by. It's time now for the current OTR Totals.
The current and final, boy, that's it. The current and final totals here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's see, I can give you something to look at on the S meter. No, we don't want that. Anyway, good job, everybody. The challenge was thrown out or thrown forward, I should say, for E.F. Johnson radios to check in tonight to make Edgar F. and all the crew, past, present, and future, out there in Waseca, Minnesota, proud. And I think you did pretty good tonight, as we had, it looks like a total of 5. So half the radios that, I'm sorry, there were 6. So more than half the radios that checked in tonight were of the E.F. Johnson variety. Let's see exactly what we did here tonight. So radio number 1, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Thanks, Chris, for that. An OTR favorite. Then the General Radio Telephone MC5 from Paul with the tone alert, and I thought perhaps we were going to have the General Radio Challenge, but that was good enough. Started with the E.F. Johnson Messenger, the Viking Messenger, the white-faced Messenger 1, thanks to Green Arrow. Always a good sound on that radio from 1959, 60, 61. Who knows when they were purchased, but they were the first Class D entry from the E.F. Johnson Company. Radio number 4 was our second E.F. Johnson, the Messenger 2 from Joe. Thanks for that. E.F. Johnson Messenger 3, and radio 5 was the Viking Messenger from Harvey, one of the Viking Messengers from Harvey. Radio number 6 and Messenger of E.F. Johnson number 4 came in from Joe, and he was on the Messenger 223. And let's see, the Messenger 2 from Joe at Radio 4 that was the first time we've heard that tonight, and we're working quite well. Radio number 7, Harvey came in with the Messenger 2 with the tone alert. Kind of a rare option to have, but they do show up occasionally. So if you've got an E.F. Johnson, pick one of those up. Maybe we'll have a tone night. We'll just listen to them beaconing to each other. Radio number 8, Chris on the Chris 23 Plus. Harvey came by with Radio 9, the E.F. Johnson 223 for the 6th E.F. Johnson radio, so not bad. Well over 50%. That's pretty darn good. And then, as always, the Browning Golden Beagle from Browning Lavatories, the R68 T68 Golden Eagle, sounding nice on your Old Tube Radio network tonight. So what challenge will we have next week? Well, the best challenge is to just get on the air and say hello. That's what OTR does quite well, is give you a chance to jump into the radio room and excuse and just say hi. If you've got a radio you'd like to warm up, or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, you can do that as well. I'm here to take your radios. So we've got the list. So check you next week. We had the Echo Link. It was Keith jumped in on Echo Link tonight, which was nice. And good DX. The bands are open. If the sun behaves, it should give us in a day or two and go back to those 40 over signals on your CB radio. It's going to get better if you're studying for your amateur radio license or thinking about it. It's going to be a great another, 5 or 6 years to get your 100 watts and a wire. I talked to a QRP station this afternoon running about 6 watts from 200 or 300 miles away on one of the frequencies, having a good time with a piece of wire and 5 watts. So it can be done. Talk to you later. Thanks for joining us on your Old Tube Radio Network.
Thanks, Dennis, for tonight.
Check, audio check.
Your audio check is in the mail.
fine, Dennis.
All right, good challenge. That's 6. It's been a while since we've had 6 of the same manufacturer.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just thought, why not? I knew that there were going to be 2 out there, so I thought, well, why not? Let's do a few more. 2 or 3, anyway. Okay. Catch you next week, sir. We'll be out.
Okay, and I actually have 2. I'm not even sure if the Viking Messenger still works. I actually did OTR net control on that one time. And I think the 223, the one I've got from Jerry, I tried to fire that up and something wasn't happening. I don't recall what it was, so maybe in future episodes I'll be able to at least have some displayed.
You got one for me, too.
Do I?
Yeah, I brought it back from Indiana. It had a hum in it, and I fixed that. And I believe you have it, along with, I think, a Pierce Simpson, too. Something like that.
I got the Pierce Simpson. And I got my old Messenger, and I got the new 223. So I don't know. You're taxing my memory. I don't think so, but maybe I do.
Well, maybe not. I mean, I'm getting old. I forget, and I don't want to tax you. I mean, you're being taxed too much.
Yeah. Speaking of taxes, it's that month. All right. Good night. I'm going to jump out of the air chair and see if there's a Charlie Alpha Tango that is looking for some treat that I don't have.
Ooh, it pinged. What happened? Okay, we'll catch you next week. We'll be out.
Okay, and on a site from... Are you hearing me over there okay tonight? Is the audio acceptable? No distortion? I know it's not loud and my signal is wimpy, but... You seem to be understanding what I'm saying, so I'm thinking you're hearing me. And of course, she says, huh?
Were you asking me or somebody else?
No, you, because you are there.
I was there. Oh, wasn't that a TV show? Yeah, no, you sound fine. No problems at all.
Okay, just besides the usual. All right, before I blow something up, we'll say 73. Good night to everybody. The stream is still up, but it will be going away shortly. And the 6L6, glowing 6L6 at oldtuberadio.net, will be safe to touch in moments.
be sure to use a concrete vibrator if you're going to have a span between your pours. That way you can homogenize them together as you pour. Who was the station said, can you hear us? K7UI.
Well, it doesn't sound like there's any AM activity on 75 meters here on the West Coast.
He has to get up at 4:30 in the morning or so to take her to work. So.
Charlie Whiskey, November, Mobile 7. Anybody else you want to give Frank a signal report?
No, go ahead, Frank.
Down the bands, all the bands, all the way up to 10 meters was completely blanked out 2 days in a row. But the nighttime, boy, after the sun goes away, 75 has been just wonderful.
Oh yeah, in fact, I could do lots of DV over on the WebSDRs, even just running this rig barefoot. It's just really good, really good. And all I'm running is an inverted V, so yeah, it's good. Good in the evening, sir.
Well, I am on the tube amp tonight. I'm running, what am I running here? I'm running 65, so I'm running about 800 watts tonight. I actually probably don't need to run this much power, but that's where I had it set. I'm exercising the tubes once in a while and go back and forth to the solid state.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yeah, I've got a 1306 here that is on the side, but I don't tend to run it, especially when you come in so well. So,
that is 30 watts.
You're 30 watts?
30 watts.
Well, you're doing 30 over here.
30 watts of drive.
Oh, 30 watts of drive.
Don't say that.
Right. Well, you're 30 over here.
I was going to say, George, freak people out, you're only running 30 watts. Well, I'm only running 30 watts of drive. Yeah, you got more than that. How much are you running, George? Right at a kilowatt or what?
30 watts, exactly. That's what the radio says.
Well, I know the amp you've got, so you're putting that thing. What's the gain on that thing? Is it? Can you actually 30 watts of drive got to give you at least 1,000 or better?
Well, here you go. I'll give you the test mode. This is get your S meter ready. That's on. That's off. Hello, up. 2 gallons.
Yeah, you dropped. Let's see. You dropped. What is that?
That would be
10 dB plus. 246.8.
Yeah, you went from negative. You were at negative 40, about negative 40
dBm here, and you went to negative 93.
Yeah, here you did about, you were doing 30, then you dropped to about 18.
UHF contest or microwave, maybe 10 gigs, I don't know.
Well, they have a 10 gig contest each year.
Yeah, they do. A lot of the hams from the Bay Area would come up here to Slide Mountain, and we'd let them through the gate, and they'd make a contact over to Diablo on 10 gigs.
Well, I don't know what that thing is that because Franklin owns those high sites, so I don't know if you were working with Franklin back then.
Boy, I can't remember. It was a fairly low power. I think it was a Class AA.
And just for protection purposes, they won't rate anything over a 75-year-old ball because